just comes out right before.
He's like, listen to me, Sean.
And then what? Dave grabs the steps, right?
Yes.
And he nails Sean with it, and then he finally wins. But I love how Jericho kept coming out. It was like, you got to do this, Sean. Really, it was just so Sean would get beat up more. But the best part about it was...
Oh, I thought it was genius, yeah.
You got to do it for me, Sean. You got to do it for the fans, Sean. Come on, Sean. But it was hilarious. And obviously, this would lead to probably one of the best feuds in the history of the company.
Oh, yeah. And the feud of 2008 for sure, which I do look forward to talking about more as we go on. But, yeah, we're still like in the early parts of it, and Jericho hadn't gone all the way full with his heel turn yet. Like he's kind of like a tweener, as I said in the last show, the last rewind. He's kind of like a tweener at this point. He's like slowly starting to make that transition. And I think that was a good way of doing it. Just have it like be slow and gradual. But I also remember the point in this match that I wanted to mention was the part where Batista would grab Shawn and say,
"Yeah."
It would be symbolic of the Ric Flair match where he'd say, "I'm not sorry, and I don't love you."
And then he Batista bomb.
Yeah, I thought that part was great too. It was just great storytelling. So yeah, I love this match. I went ahead and gave it a 4.
What did I give it?
3 3/4. We had written down here.
Yeah, I didn't think it was worthy of a 4, but I thought it was really good.
I think what just put it over the top for me is like just thinking of like just the storytelling and everything where like, the stuff they did in this was obviously really good, but I think what just put it over the top for me is you have like, the storytelling there, like, where you have like Batista telling him, "I'm not sorry and I don't love you," before he does the Batista bomb. And like, that's like that's like symbolic of the WrestleMania 24 match with Flair where he said, "I'm sorry and I love you." I think there was just that. And then you have Jericho running in between where he's just like, or he's like trying to like talk to whatever, and like I guess he's trying to make it look like he's, trying to egg him on and like trying to get him to keep fighting, but in reality he's continuing the beating just to make it worse. And I don't know. I just thought that part. I just thought it was great. I think that just will put it over the top for me. That's why I loved it so much.
Yeah, I really liked it too.
But yeah, I never thought I'd give a stretcher match 4 stars. So what can I say?
Well, any Shawn Michaels match could get 4 stars, let's be honest. It could be Shawn could wrestle a scarecrow in the middle of the ring and he'll make it a 4-star match.
Yeah, that's true. That guy always found a way to put on a show. No matter what.
Well, you don't become the showstopper for no reason.
Absolutely. No, I mean, yeah. Absolutely. So this would go 17 minutes and 3 seconds. So they'd even get plenty of time too. So that was great. Then next we would have the last man standing match for the WWE Championship. It would be Triple H defending against Randy Orton. It would actually be the first title match of the show as well.
Interesting. So this match was doing okay. It really started to pick up when Randy went for the RKO. And Triple H lifted him up and threw him outside the ring. But as I'm sure we all know, it's a very famous moment. Randy landed wrong and broke his collarbone in this match.
Yeah, and I mean, even if that spot went right, like that's still like a very dangerous one to attempt.
It is, and this is probably why Randy doesn't take bumps anymore. He takes bumps, but Randy doesn't take big moves anymore.
Yeah. Well, after this, and he had a couple other injuries too. But yeah, but hey, not for nothing. I mean, I guess in some ways it was good to adapt and change your style over time. Especially like at this point, he's only like 29 years old, I believe. No, he's 28 actually. I take that back. He's 28. So, and he's been able to make it all the way till now, and here he is at 40 years old, and he's still performing at a good level, and he's still like been a star for like so many years, and he's an absolute legend. So
yeah, but obviously break his collarbone, Triple H would go get the sledgehammer, hit him with that, he would win. My guess would be this match is probably supposed to go for 7 or 8 more minutes.
Well,
they were definitely going to do a table spot.
Oh yeah, well, what's the last man standing match without a table spot? I guess.
Well, because they took the stuff off the table and they teased that. You don't do that unless you're going to do a table spot. So they were definitely going to do a table spot at some point in the match.
Yeah. Which
we ended up not getting, of course. And then that was a big, like I said, this match and Triple H, I think we said it. Triple H actually looked kind of pissed off as he was leaving.
Yeah, because he was probably because I thought it was good. I mean, we both went with 3 stars on this. I thought it was good, but it just seemed like it was going to be much more than it was because like this match went like 13 minutes or 12, 13 minutes. I'm trying to remember. Let me actually. 13 minutes, 15 seconds. That was the recorded time. And
it's probably going to go at least 20.
Yeah, at least had another 7, 8 minutes left. At least. Maybe they could have gone 10 more. Who knows?
Yeah. And they were clearly going to do way more stuff. And, he looked really pissed off when he was leaving because I'm sure that, one, he's probably pissed here at Randy, and 2, that he could have done so much more. And this was, so this sucked. Not the match didn't suck, but Randy getting hurt, not being able to finish sucked.
Yeah, if you pay close attention, there's actually a part where you could see Orton mouth, I think I broke my collarbone.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, that was unfortunate that it had to end there. So there's the abrupt finish, and, he sent him into the steps, and then, he picked him up, hit him with the sledgehammer. But,
yeah.
Triple H would retain the WWE title here. Then Orton would be sidelined for some months here. This was June 1st, and he was out. He didn't start wrestling, I think, till October that year. Because he started doing the stuff.
Collarbone's not a joke.
Oh, no, it's not. He started doing the stuff with... Well, he started doing the program with Punk. And I remember that's when he came back.
Okay.
But then, after the match, I was going to say, Orton was, they were giving him medical attention, and then they were helping him, I guess, out of the arena. And you could actually see that his collarbone just looks like out of place.
And he was so hurt and pissed off that as he's leaving, fans are heckling him. And Randy's not even in, character mode anymore. A fan yells at him, and Randy, tries to, attack the fan.
Yeah. I remember they actually had security run over there because I was that it looked like a shoot.
Yeah. Randy was actually really pissed off.
Yeah, and then you could see them show it again in slow motion, and, yeah, that you could clearly see it. That was brutal.
Yeah.
So now that... Ooh. Sorry if you guys heard that. Someone was calling me, so I had to pause this for a second. But now we are on to the main event. A tables, ladders, and chairs match. A TLC match for the World Heavyweight Championship. The vacant World Heavyweight Championship. It would be Edge versus The Undertaker once again.
And as always, they deliver.
Yes. Oh, they didn't have a bad match at all. Even the Undertaker and Edge match, the last rewind we did, Judgment Day 2008, even that match was good. I mean, obviously, there's no way, Taker and Edge, I guess, we're going to go out there and not put on a good match. I mean, it was the least favorite, probably, of ours. And it's probably, I can't imagine how that was anyone's, not least favorite. Because even the Backlash match was, great, but of course, this would be their 4th big match here, on pay-per-view. This honestly was probably my 2nd or 3rd favorite match that they had in 2008.
Yeah, this was a great match. Obviously, you have the stipulation that if Taker loses, he's done. His career's over, which wouldn't last. And then you'd have, but like you said, this was good. What else did we have here? We had the friendly spots in the match. Let's see, Taker had the hurt leg. There were a bunch of spots in this match. I'm sure you'll get to them.
Oh, yeah, there was there was those chair shots to the head from Edge to Taker.
Oh, God. Taker, tell you what, before it was banned, Taker loves getting unprotected chair shots to the head.
I know, because he hit him with, multiple ones. And honestly, seeing these here, especially, a couple of them, they all were bad, but there's, a couple of them in particular, I'm you know what? This actually makes me glad that they don't do those anymore. Because, I mean, you've seen them a couple times, in AEW. I guess they were gimmicked or whatever, but still. Even then, I'm not, a big fan of it. Then there was also they'd also set up the 4 tables on the outside of the ring, which that would come into play later. And then there was the 2 tables set up in the ring. there was also the ladder that was bridged in between the barricade and the ring, and then I remember Undertaker would chokeslam Edge on top of that. There would be the La Familia interference. There would be Hawkins and Ryder, and then Undertaker would chokeslam both of them through tables, so then they'd be taken out. And then you'd have Chavo and Bam Neely. They'd interfere. Well, I remember I think that came more towards the end, because I remember Edge was climbing the ladder. Then Undertaker gave him the last ride through the two tables. That took him out for the time. Then it looked like Undertaker was going to climb up and get the title. Then Chavo and Bam came in. And then it looked like the ring was cleared. La Familia was all taken out. And then Undertaker was going to go for the world title. And then Edge would get back up, and then he'd tip the ladder over, and then Undertaker would go crashing to the outside through the tables. Taker in 2008 at this point is like 43 years old.
This is probably, in terms of pure wrestling, this is around prime Taker.
Oh, this is prime Taker. I don't care what anyone says. Like, it may have not been peak Taker, in terms of like character or whatever. They may have like the old dead man, and I get that. I mean, I could respect that. But in terms of like the matches and like the quality of the quality of the stuff he was doing with Batista and even Edge here, and the stuff he was doing from like 2007 to like 2009 or like 2010,
he still had his matches with Shawn at Mania to come.
Yes, and oh man, we look forward to doing those. But it's like he was on some other level.
He was so good.
Yeah, and he's had one of the greatest careers ever.
Yeah, and just WWE, he's probably the greatest of all time.
I would say so, because I mean, who lasts for like 30 years, like in that company, or like, because he was obviously in the business before that, like me, Mark Callis, and like Texas Red and everything. But who lasts like in the WWE for like 30 years, like 3 decades, or not? Yeah, like three whole decades, like 30 years, and like all these different generations, and it's like still relevant like that, where people are still invested, they still care. And I mean, yeah, he did take the break in between, with the American Badass and Big Evil, and he altered the Deadman character a bit throughout the years. There was the original Deadman that debuted at the Survivor Series in 1990, and then later he changed it to he was more darker. He had the Mystery of Darkness, and then he came back in 2004 with the Deadman character, and then he kind of went with that until pretty much now. It's just like who's it? And I think the most important thing to point out is he never needed a world title for anyone to care. I think that's the most important thing of it all.
No. The only time you do a world title is pretty much to give it to someone else for a storyline.
Yeah, even here with Edge. Mm-hmm. And I guess ultimately they just had to have him be the world champion at times, just because it was just simply, as you said, either just to feed it off to somebody else, or it was just simply the right thing to do at the time. So yeah, in my opinion, he's like the greatest WWE wrestler ever. I say wrestler, not superstar, but that's just me. So yeah, I thought this here was also another just a great match. It's probably my second or third favorite Edge and Taker match. My favorite is WrestleMania 24, just because I do love the Hell in a Cell match they end up having at SummerSlam. I love the TLC match here, but the match at Mania for me will always be my favorite, just because I remember going into that match just being super excited about it. And I'm also very happy that they got the main event of WrestleMania, because I felt like that was the perfect choice for it. I mean, Ric Flair did have the career-threatening match with Shawn, which we were at the time to think that would be his final match. And it still was very special, so I'm not trying to say that. So, I mean, I guess there is that. But
Taker and Edge deserve the main event.
Well, that was just the top program at the time. And it was The Undertaker's, at the time, 15-0 streak against Edge, who's the world champion. So streak versus title.
He's never beaten Edge at that point.
No, he had never beaten Edge. And it was just magnificent. It was one of my favorite WrestleMania main events, and Edge and Undertaker are like my 2 favorite wrestlers ever. And, just obviously Taker had his main events, but just knowing that Edge also was able to have that moment, and, obviously he didn't win the match, but he just knowing that like my favorite wrestler of all time was able to have the main event of WrestleMania, especially against Undertaker in that setting and everything. I don't know, it's just really special for me, and I remember that match very fondly, and I can always go back and watch that at any